Okay, welcome to Making Miracles for the World. I'm having an exciting day. And it's an exciting time, I think. I know the old reality is collapsing and falling apart in front of our eyes and all that stuff, but the things that are emerging, the power and the force and the miraculousness of how we're being together and the emergence of collective intelligence and all of that. It's quite amazing that it's all happening simultaneously, and I'm just loving it. I think it's quite exciting. So we're going to do miracles for the world. So I thought first of all we'd start by aligning each to our own miraculousness, whatever that is for you. Just let her like come out and play. Okay, here we go. And then if you take that and you just align all of us on this call, all of our miraculousness together with an intention to source miracles for the world and see what happens. And all together with all life, earth, universe, everything, all together. Okay. Oh, that felt so good. Do you know the other day on the Maestro's call, I was trying to do it like, okay, let's first align with our own miraculous, then nature's, then the earth. And what we discovered, almost all of us, as we were trying to do it, it's like one gigantic collective miraculous force and presence of the miraculous, or Lynn calls it the ineffable, the unexplainable, the source creator, universe. There's a whole bunch of names for it, but there seems to be a growing, dynamic, generative, miraculous presence in the collectiveness of us at the moment. And that, for me, has been one of the big things I've really noticed this week. Do any of the rest of you want to say anything about what you've noticed around that?
Hmm.
Nope. Okay. Some of them were on the call, so I thought they might, but that's okay. It's
Well,
hard to language, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, I could say something about what I experienced right now. As soon as we went in, it was just sort of, it was like the whole space of the physicality around me just magnified into something so much more intense and, yeah, magnificent, I would say, also than I have experienced before.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And like you say, I don't think I could differentiate between the personal and the bigger so much. It wasn't so.
yeah. Because we were talking about we all have an innate miraculousness inside of us. Everybody does. And often it's contained, but we were like talking about unleashing that, letting it flow, which is kind of where we started from. But then this presence or force or this miraculousness is there. And it's engaging that ourselves with the whole of a collectiveness, a collective miraculousness in some way. So it's quite exciting, actually, what's happening at the moment. It's so fascinating, these two different realities going on at the same time in the world. So, yeah, exciting. And I was looking back at, I think I wrote this in one of the posts earlier this week. In the Maestros group, the Murmuration of Maestros group that we do, it's been quite normal for us, and I don't even think we consider it miraculous anymore. But there would be people on the planet we go, "You do what?" Like, we can elevate the frequency of the whole world and all life together. We can exhilarate the cells of people for vibrancy, vitality, accelerating their unfurling into the journey, put grace into it, that kind of thing. We can unleash genius in everyone and brought the genius field more present. Those are pretty, I think a lot of people would say that's kind of miraculous, but for us, it's kind of like, well, that's what we do. It does, I wouldn't label it as miraculous necessarily anymore. It's a skill that we have. And it's not necessarily a learned skill. It's spontaneously developed out of our interactions together,
Yeah.
I would say. Were you going to say something, Lynn?
Yeah, because as you're talking, I'm thinking, I think it has to do with less and less identifying with the narratives that have been versed around. And the less we identify with those, the more we are a part of something bigger. That was, yeah, that, and then that's basically what at least I'm sensing.
Yeah,
I think it's about. It's like I don't have any preconceived ideas of what it has to be, and yet then I can be everything.
yeah. Hi, welcome.
I'm Terry. It always says Sean on
Hey,
there. I don't know
Terry.
why.
How are you? Good to
Good.
see
How
you.
are you? I don't think I've been on a Zoom call with you before. Nice to
Yeah,
be here.
yeah, it's wonderful to have you. And you're where are you now? Florida?
Florida.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, we've got people here. Three of them are from the US and Norway and the UK and Sweden.
Oh,
So,
wonderful.
yeah, we were just talking about the miraculous. We lined up, connected, and we were talking about the miraculous. There's some sort of a force or presence. It's a collective miraculousness that seems to be present with us all now. And we were talking about how we were doing things as a Maestro group in the past about elevating frequency, unleashing genius in people all over, sourcing breakthroughs in consciousness is another one that we would do all together. But I think it's time for, like, my passion at the moment is sourcing global reality. and, and it's not, we talk about this often in the group, but it's not an agenda-based sourcing. It's not like this is how it should be. It's
Mhm.
much more spontaneously interwoven in the moment, as in what wants to become next. Who are we becoming? What's at play? What do we each bring to the collaborative co-creation of that? And I think we've had a breakthrough in sourcing global reality collectively, collaboratively, in the last 3 weeks. That's quite interesting. Yeah, Marilyn.
Um, I work with animals a lot, and I walk Benji every day, once, twice a day. And I'm noticing there's a collective of the dog kingdom.
Mm,
They are much more aware and sentient than I mean, I've always had a dog, so I follow dogs and I do speak dog. Um, but I'm noticing that they're much more aware. They're
yeah,
much more sentient, much more. I mean, I definitely feel that I could see if anything happened that Benji would. Well, you hear about the stories of animals rescuing people, but I know that these animals would collectively work to um, sort their humans out.
yeah. I see the same thing by watching videos. The videos, like if you go back maybe even 10 years, you were seeing a lot more videos of human animal interaction and asking for help. But now you're seeing much more of like a collaborative exchange between humans and all life forms. And of course, we were talking yesterday about Veda Austin's work with water and the intelligence, the sentient intelligence of water is like mind-boggling to me. And it's brought, of course, nature, trees, leaves, oceans, water, all of it is it's elevating into a whole new level of, I would call it super consciousness. And that's a very different place for us to be, I think. So it's exciting. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Linda,
had an
yes.
interesting experience. There's tons and tons of trees where I live, and I was walking, and I always talk to the trees and all of that. Um, but all of a sudden, I became very, very dizzy, like very, very wobbly, and I felt like I had gone through a portal, and it just took me a couple minutes to just kind of stand there because I couldn't get my balance. And then I found myself like really not having any words for what I just experienced, except for that I really felt that I had just passed through a portal or jumped a timeline or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. When
But
was
that
that?
nature is so powerful in allowing that to happen.
When was that?
It was 2 days ago.
I was going to say, was it Monday?
Yeah, it was Monday.
Yeah, interesting, because Monday afternoon I just went gone. I mean, I don't know what's going on. And I asked Julia about it. The same for her. We just couldn't
Huh.
keep, we were like drawn somewhere for something. And we often find that we're all, any of
Yeah.
the rest of you had experiences like that, even whether it was Monday or in the last little while. Yeah, interesting, huh? Yeah, these are collective things often that are going on, which is really fascinating to see and to witness. So, yeah, exciting. Okay, let's play, shall we? So, I never direct things because we each will do uniquely what is ours to do. So, I'll just invite us to make miracles for the world and let's just see what we do because what we'll tune in, we'll align, we'll power up. And then we'll just share and see what we're doing. How's that sound? Yeah? Okay, here we go. Okay. Oh, it was so exhilarating. Like it brings a smile to my face, but an exhilaration through all of me at the same point. And usually when I do something like that, I get about five different things going on. And one of them was the lower frequency of where chaos and noise is. It was like it wasn't just personally turning the radio off. It wasn't like that. It was like the planet was turning the radio off of the noise. And then we were raising all life to be interwoven, interconnected, to know itself, to, it's interesting. It just on the call I was just doing with two people about an emerging intelligence, including AI. And one of the women was saying at 69, she now knows herself fully. And then it just came in a swoop to her. I thought, that's kind of what I would wish for everyone in the world, that they know themselves truly, authentically, genuinely, in a wonderfully connected way. And so we were doing some of that. It felt to me that's what I was getting as we were playing in that. So who else? What do you want to share with us what you were doing? Yeah, Bobby.
So I've been playing really from the beginning of this year with the islands of coherence and honoring that each one is kind of a bubble of flourishing reality. And that is the goal. And in our practice just now, these bubbles of islands of coherence started cohering. Like if you think about bubbles um, in the dish soap, they all kind of, hooked together.
Yeah,
And so the vision that came is this parallel world of coherence. And the metaphor that came through is Pangea. We are recreating the wholeness of the world before its separation
oh,
through these creating this giant bubble of bubbles, this island of bubbles of coherence. Um, and when you think about soap bubbles and all the beautiful rainbows that are on them, and so it was this really beautiful wholeness that is, as you said, simultaneously
yeah,
being amassed, cohering together um, in this amassing of flourishing that
yes,
is the raising of all life. Um,
yeah.
so it was cool.
Beautifully said. Yeah, I
Thank you.
love it. And you can feel the synergy of the ways we each do it and the way it's important we each have our own unique spontaneous mastery with it and calling to it. And yet there's a synergy that happens that melds it in some way into something extraordinary. That was beautiful. Yeah. Who else? Can you remember? Yeah, Sheila and then Lynn.
Yeah, it's just that I feel that this, I mean, this week more than ever, it's like the energies are just so intense then when we do this together, more than I have experienced ever before. It could be that I'm opening up to something, but I think it's more than that. I think it's just that it is so much more potent. But when I was working now, I was just sort of kind of connecting to all of Earth and all of humans and all of beings. And it was just like you said, it sort of becomes this like, yeah, like one big togetherness.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Beautiful. Yeah. Sheila?
Um,
So I had a vision that I don't normally get, kind of thing. I just went into this green, beautiful green color space. Maybe a bubble. I hadn't thought about it like a bubble, but when Bobby said that, it's like, okay, man, okay, yeah, maybe it's a bubble. And in this space, there was like, the chaos kind of going on down, kind of below, but then there's like these green stalks coming up everywhere, just everywhere. And then the green stalks, we all came up, and then we recognized each other, and then some of us started flowering, and some of us were staying green. And but there was like this, we're creating this new thing. This
Yeah,
We're just creating a new thing. Yeah. I don't see those kind of pictures usually in this stuff, but it was great.
fantastic. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah. Anybody else want to share? No? Okay. Yeah, I think that one of the things, hi, Alette.
I
Yeah,
love.
Alette's in Africa at the moment, although she's regularly from the Netherlands, right? I get that right? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I like that Gardens of Flourishing.
Yeah, yeah, perfect, perfect. Well said.
Yeah. We were just aligning and doing a first tune in, Alette. So, um, I think one of the big differences with the alchemical, I'm going to call it that approach, you might call it transcendent or, whatever. There may be all kinds of different terms for it, but it's like we're learning to not be a self trying to get something to happen. We're learning to be the field or the collective or the universe or the source or and as that to engage as the field of it, I now call it the creatrix rather than a matrix. I think we're in a whole new creative burst, a generative period for us. Yeah, yes, that Bobby said, or the conduit for miraculous life to flow through us. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it's like we're learning to live as that. Like even to learn to walk around, I wouldn't say 100%, like when I'm shopping for groceries, but I'm not going back to the individual normality that it was before. I kind of have some joy in doing the grocery shopping these days, like, which is very different. So what I'm calling alchemical approach or generational creational approach is very different, I think, to things that have happened before. And I don't know why I say this, but in 1987 was the harmonic convergence. Were any of you a part of that back in 1987? Marilyn was.
Yeah, yeah, I
Terry
was.
did. Oh, a whole
Yes,
bunch
I
of
was in Mexico. Yeah,
a whole bunch of
in
you were.
Teotihuacan. Yeah,
And I think that was the beginning right there.
yeah, yeah.
It was the first time that I had seen anyways, and I think a global alignment coherence project of the light on the planet. That was my impression of it, even though I wasn't part of it back then. I was still unconscious in 1987. I was working my way towards it at the time, and I think that really made a difference. And I think we're now the new version of what that looks like today. You know, it's quite powerful. So, yeah, I love it. Now, when we do murmuration and maestro calls, we'll do these kind of lineups and power ups like 3 or 4 times. And what we find is it progresses and synergizes and turns into something. So again, we'll maybe do it a couple more times and see what's emerging from this. I like the word coherence, Bobby. That's a good word. This collaboration of us as miraculous presence and force, miraculous force in the universe. So let's just do it again and see what happens, okay? All right, here we go. Okay. Oh, that was fascinating. Uh, we were kind of tuning to this miraculous force presence, and it 2 or 3 years ago, and the Meisters group, and I'm sure other people around the world too, started to bring source creator universe present into life, like not out there somewhere, but in us, in life, in the air we breathe, in the earth itself, in nature, right? And so I was feeling the beautiful presence of that. And then the waters of the world, whether that be inside our bodies or in the oceans or in the air as moisture, the waters of the world just picked this up and bursted into all life everywhere. Like, whoa, it was quite stunning, actually, what was happening, as if it was bringing it more alive, more present, more aligned in everyone and everything in some way. And then it was just like this, like it's kind of like, ah, like there we are, kind of thing. It was gorgeous. Yeah. Yeah, Marilyn.
I said I went to Mexico with a group of people, not dissimilar to the maestros actually, and we did a lot of meditation, and we were looking at all the temples, and I'd completely forgotten about it, but the sort of thing you're talking about happened, and we were very much in touch with the various, because it wasn't just the Aztecs, we were with a lot of the different not exactly tribes, but civilizations. And we had lots of messages about humankind and how we needed to get together and to pool our resources. And that's when my journey really started, I think.
Yeah. That was in 1987?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yes, it was. Yeah, in the summer, autumn, round about then. There was some very major moon and various different um, alignments of the planets and stars that year.
Yeah. Well, and as Bobby reminded us, we're in between a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse
Mm, mm,
this weekend. So
mm,
that when you're between eclipses like that, it's a very
mm.
potent time.
Yeah.
Things intensify in some way. I always find I don't. Lynn's our more astrology related person who gives us the goods on that, but it's always seemed very potent to me when you're around those kinds of times.
Well, I nearly stayed there, but that would have been a bit difficult for my late husband and my
Yeah.
soon to be born daughter.
Yes, I get that. Yeah. Well, I really acknowledge all the people who were involved with that 1987 harmonic
Yeah,
convergence because I
yeah.
think it's what woke me up.
Uh,
It was my beginning then. It was 1988 when I really got kicked into gear. So, yeah, beautiful. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, Sheila. Oh, you're on mute, Sheila. There you go.
I'm noticing, at least around where I live in the northwest part of the United States, that there seems to be kind of a movement of gratitude. People are just talking about it way more in sort of just ordinary
mhm.
um, circumstances. You're just talking, sharing your life, whatever, hanging out, even at the grocery store. I've heard some people saying that they're so grateful that there's such an abundance now, like coming out of COVID.
Yeah,
We all had that experience of kind of some lack and that whole weird thing we all went through together. And now just spontaneously people are saying how grateful they are that there's nice things and it's easier to do this and all of that. I feel a real change, a real change.
Yeah, I do think I noticed that too. I'm following two people who are, one of them is a guy in the UK who lives on a canal boat with his wife. And he met this guy online and they decided they would walk 8 days and spend no money. And the kindness of strangers is extraordinary. Like his whole, all of his videos, he does a video a day and he compiles all this stuff. The people who meet them at pubs and buy them meals and then say, "Oh, you can stay in my caravan for the night, or you can stay in my yurt," or and the same with my friend Jesper, who's from Denmark, who is walking to, I think it's Istanbul, he's walking to. And every day, he doesn't know often where he's going to stay, and but people hear of him and they buy him meals, and it's the same. It's this kindness is emerging in real people all over the planet, which is really quite lovely to see, because it's not what you hear in the news. You know? So yeah, it's quite beautiful. Okay, who
I think
else?
I
Yeah.
think it's been in smaller groups. You know, church groups were kind to each other, and um, cultural groups were organized and kind to each other. But now that it seems like there's a more of an opening to have an expression of it amongst all people.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that too. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Beautiful. So anybody else want to share what you got while we were doing that? Yeah, Terry, go for it.
I have barking dogs, so I have to keep getting up to try to quiet them down. Um, when we were doing the powering up, I was remembering the time in Lemuria, um, and when everyone did know their truth and there was no separation. And then I had the image too of just waters rising,
Oh yeah.
and we were all in that water, like as one. And so that was beautiful to experience that and to remember that,
Yeah.
because I know I did have that experience. I think many of us did, but that it is returning. And I have to agree 100% about the kindness and the gratitude that is just flowing in our world.
Mm,
And it's interesting where I live. I'm not exactly aligned with the political views of many people.
yeah.
And that doesn't even matter anymore.
Ah,
Um, from 7 years ago when we moved here, it did make a difference, but it just doesn't because um, like we are all one. And so when I pass people or I'm talking to them in my mind, I'm going, I am my I am presence, and I'm one with the I am presence of all humanity. Or when I'm taking a walk, I'll just think in my head is like, you and I are one. There
ah,
is no
beautiful.
separation in that. And I'm just feeling that back from many, many people. And um, I got to say, I just think we're just rising, 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 you
Yes.
know. And you're right, turn that chaos off and
Yeah.
just really take it all in because it is a beautiful time to be on this planet.
It
So,
is. I think so too. And I think that the emergence of us in alchemical capacity and greater consciousness, being super consciously aware, our energetic capacity is so different. It's affecting everything. It's affecting how we add years to our life. Like it's affecting the evolution of intelligence. Like I don't actually think with my inside my brain much anymore. It's more like this for me. It's like more of a collective knowing intelligence emerging of all the different species and universe and everything. And but it's also creative and generative as well. There's a real emergence of that kind of intelligence that lets you create and generate newness, which is exciting as well. So yeah, it's quite beautiful. Yeah. Anybody else want to share what you got? Okay. Should we do it one more time? Okay. Let's see what it's moving into. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh, that was fabulous. I I felt me, us, everything becoming the universe. So even though this is called Making Miracles for the World, this call, the miracle seemed to be that the whole of the earth and all life upon it was reuniting with the universe, and the universe and all life was elevating to a whole new level of itself, a whole new possibility of creation together. And it was funny because I was watching Lynn just at the end there, and I could see you like, whoo. So that's what happened to me too. It was like I fell into it. Not that I haven't experienced myself being the universe before, but it was just like being pulled into an experience in which the self wasn't really present, but something was in myself and us really present. The whole, I don't know, isn't it hard to describe this stuff, to put words to it? It's like, and it was interesting. I opened my eyes and Alette's got a tree behind her with her hat, right? And it kind of looked like that, like the leaves of the tree, the branches look like our interwoven interconnectedness of the earth with the universe kind of thing. So it was coming to me like that. So Lynn, I'd love to hear what you were doing as you were doing that.
I was just sensing, like you said, it was like I was being drawn into something that was much more than me. And it was
Yeah.
almost like anything that I would call I was dissolving.
Yes. Yeah. Which I think is a really wonderful thing.
Yeah, no, it was just very expansive and very energetic. I could just feel it sort of just everything pulsing through me. I think
Yeah.
that's the closest I can get to explaining what I was
Yeah.
experiencing.
Me too. Yeah. Anybody else experience it like that? Yeah. 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 Go
Yeah,
for it,
I
Bobby.
just want to so I've had a practice for a number of years where it's like you reach up, up, up out of your body and you're sort of looking from a cosmic perspective at, encompassing it all. And that showed up, but in a different way, in
Yeah.
that there is, it's not, I'm down here on the earth, this little tiny button,
Yeah.
and there's this big thing out there. It was like, oh, this is what is inside me that
Yes.
is pulsing, and that it is the wholeness, the cosmos, the microcosm and the macrocosm creating a unified field within us. The infinite is within. And
Yes.
that's the playground that the alchemy that you're um, activating is showing us,
Yeah.
that there is this unified field that is life flourishing. And that was really the flourishing part, was what came through for me on
Yeah.
the second, anyway, the one right before this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um
It's
so
that's
yeah,
so
very,
beautifully put. Yeah. It was, but you said the micro and the macro, and it was like, whoa, the universe, but it was right here. Like it wasn't
yeah,
that big of a deal. It
yeah,
was a big deal, but it wasn't a big deal at the same time,
yeah, yes,
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it? Yeah. It's like we're rejoining all of life without and I think individually is becoming uniqueness. And I think they're different things. Individuality is separate, uniqueness is shared in some way, like collaborative, co-creative in some way. It's a different experience. Yeah. I wouldn't want to see us become all the same, you know? So yeah. So anybody else, what'd you get while we were doing that? Yeah, Doriana.
Hi.
Hi.
Uh, yeah, we're in this big cosmic aquarium. Used to be cosmic soup,
Yeah.
but it all boils down for me with water. That water and the newness that we're learning and using with water. Uh, I've been doing some water activations by using glasses of water with past, future, and present, and putting codes into the water that goes into our bodies, and using that as a format for our evolution and getting into our where we're becoming. And I'm also developing a class or course of water immersion, of being in like in a tub and then using uh, all these kind of new things that we're learning to do, like bringing in divas and to redo our elements, the elementals and things in our bodies. But that, takes us into the cosmic plasma and then the newly using these other forms of water that you mentioned. One person that's been good at that, and I've been studying with a lot of different people with that
Yeah.
in mind. And so we are in this cosmic soup, and you drop a drop of ink into the ocean, and it's going to, spread out everywhere. And so that's what's happening with us and with plasma and with how our bodies are utilizing the way that water is what sparks all of the activities that go on in the way our bodies metabolize, and in the way DNA is now, the new DNA is coming online and bringing in all these new clairs and other things that are coming in our evolution, in
Yeah.
our newness. So life's just getting a lot of fun.
Thank you for doing all that. I went into the White Spring in Glastonbury a couple of weeks ago, and I was telling the guys here, the gals here, normally when I go in the White Spring, I put my hands in the water, but since Veda Austin visited, it's been more energy, more amazing. But when I went in 2 weeks ago and put my hand in the water, I could tell it was all water everywhere. It wasn't just the spring coming from the tour. It was interconnected. Maybe it always was, and I wasn't aware, but maybe something new is happening. I mean, it's all possibilities, you know? It was really exciting to experience it that way. And the energy was very, very different. So, yeah,
Yeah, that
fabulous.
seems to be one of the popular things now, along with gratitude,
Yeah.
of making waters of the world and spreading, putting codes in here and there, and places where we've been around the world, uh, sacred places and other places, we've shared codes with those places. And it's kind of the same thing with water spreading everywhere, but we're also harmonizing the whole earth and all the nodes that are around,
Yeah.
as well as within our bodies. And so it's, the micro and the macro, and uh,
Yeah.
it's just frequency everywhere, and
Thank
fields.
Thank goodness there's so many of us doing so many different things. I mean, you wouldn't want to leave it for from one person.
Mm-hmm.
It's when we bring each of us what we bring that it fuses in some sort of quantum fusion state and becomes something more glorious all the time. It then has a life of its own as well, but we're accelerators in some way of that, which is just beautiful. Yeah, I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Okay, let's do just one last, we'll just before we go, we'll just do one last like whoosh for the whole world, for the universe, for the unity of us all, for whatever it is. Okay. Okay. Oh my goodness. I would say, I mean, we've done many things on this call and probably touched many different aspects of life, but it's like there's a presencing of the miraculous in everything, everyone, all life, the earth, the universe, everything, everywhere. And that presencing of the miraculous is also a unification. That's the wrong word, but you know what I mean, right? It's like an interweavingness of us away from individuality to more collaborative, co-creative, generative, collective, miraculous power in some way. And it just seemed to settle into everything. It was beautiful. Yeah, I loved it. Wow. Oh, I love it when we get together to do these things. And then what's interesting is, I've said for a while now, if I go back 10 years and we do a piece of work like this, it would take a year before you'd see it. Now we do it and you see it immediately and you feel it immediately. And it's, yeah, abounding. I love it. Miraculousness abounding. Yeah, it is exactly like that. It's just, it's like a natural, effervescent, miraculous part of everything, of all life, which is quite beautiful. Anybody else, anything you got on that you want to share with us before we go?
Mm, I- I'm sort of being reminded of so many of the kind of teachings that I have from Kabbalistic and Jewish teachings about sort of that it's the water, that it's, shall I say, the essence of all life is that water, and it's not a physical water, but it's, the creation was the upper waters and the lower waters, and what we're beginning to realize is that we are that lower, that water is that sense that's connecting everything, and it's just, yeah, it's just like it's bringing all things to life again.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah.
Mm.
Anybody else? No? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of it all, for doing what you do all the time, and for being together on this call. That was just wonderful. I will share the recording in the Alliance group and on my timeline so you can see it. It'll be a YouTube video, so you can get to watch it if you'd like. So that was fantastic. Mwah. Thank you all. Have a great one. Bye.